All right, let's talk about the offensive side of the football. It's just more of the same. The Dolphins just can't get out from under the same plague that has been plaguing this team for this entire season. The offense cannot take care of the football. They can't get out of their own way. And what I mean by that is they just continue to commit penalties in the worst possible situations, literally taking points off the board on a consistent basis, which is just ridiculous. And that continued to happen. And not even to just taking points off the board, moving the chains. Turnovers and penalties have just killed us. If it wasn't for a holding call on Sam Young, we probably score a touchdown on our opening drive. So it's just a bunch of it's not okay. And it hasn't been for the entire season. I don't understand it because this team was not, it just wasn't this way a year ago. So it's hard to blame it on coaching and say this is a poorly disciplined team. That's not the case. There are some really good coaches and veteran coaches on that offensive side of the football. When you talk about Clyde Christensen, who's had so much success in Indianapolis for a 15-year span, basically, with Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning, of just a winning tradition, which he was a big part of. And, he could be a head coach somewhere, for God's sakes. He's a dang good coach. So I don't know where this comes from. I try to explain it and rationalize it the best possible way I can. Like, the players are young. There are obviously third-string players like Sam Young who committed that penalty. But there are also starters out there that are committing stupid penalties. Like Jarvis Landry has been called for a couple holding calls this season. Kenny has been called for a ton of holding calls this season on screens. Julius Thomas, Laramie Tunsil, Ted Larson, who's a starter on this team. I mean, he wasn't here a year ago, and he's not been performing so well. But I don't think we really expected him to be this otherworldly player. But I guess the way you could rationalize it and make a case for why it's happening like this is because there's a lot of players out there on offense that haven't played a lot in their career. And it's not just them, it's everybody else on the team. It's just uncharacteristic stuff. But I guess that's where the bulk of the penalties come from. The reason why they happen on a consistent basis is because there's a Jesse Davis, there's a Sam Young, there's a Ted Larson who was not in this offense, a year ago. So I guess I could see that. Obviously, there have been injuries all over the place, so I could see that. I mean, it affected this team more than I think it. I don't know why people didn't think it was going to affect the team. I mean, even me. I don't even know why I thought, okay, we're going to be okay after all of those injuries. I honestly don't. I mean, even after Jawan went down, we thought, okay, Jesse's going to put. It just is like it's been a terrible season, and a lot of that has to do with injuries. We're going to be healthier next year, but it's just frustrating football to watch because it's just not it's not the Dolphins team that we thought that this team was going to be. And they talk about not moving forward in improvement, and it's hard to when you don't have, like I said, all those players out there. But we took a huge step back this year, and it's unfortunate. And it's been so tough to watch. I mean, this team is really frustrating to watch, especially with all the penalties. And all the boneheaded plays, and all the turnovers. It's just missed opportunities all over the place. Again, this game had that written all over it. There were times where, in my opinion, if it wasn't for turnovers, and which the Kenny Stills fumble, I still don't think is a fumble. They should have challenged that. Adam should have challenged it. Don't know why he didn't, but whatever. The offense with all the turnovers and penalties. Other than the stupid stuff that we did to ourselves, we were moving the ball on a very bad Kansas City Chiefs defense. I mean, they have not been good all year. We had Jakeem out there. We got him involved a lot in this game, but I felt like we were able to move the football down the field. I felt like, other than a couple of negative plays here and there, which is another thing this offense is infamous for at this point, because of the O-line play has been pretty poor, and they're not physical as they were a year ago for a lot of different reasons. But other than, a couple negative plays here and there, we were able to run the football pretty well on them. Kenny Drake, when he got his opportunities, capitalized on those. So there were good things. I mean, again, there's good there, but it just we continue to hurt ourselves, and it's so frustrating. And that was the story of that game. We just too many turnovers, too many penalties plagued us in every loss, just about every loss this year. And it's unfortunate. In terms of positives, it was really nice to see Jakeem Grant have the game. He had 4 catches, I think 102 yards, or maybe a little bit more than that. And he had a great game. I mean, I don't know where this has been all season long, because he's been capable of that. We saw that in preseason. His ability, especially his run after the catch ability, and since he's been playing a lot of special teams his first 2 years in the NFL, he's really, not that he wasn't good at it in Texas Tech, but he's really gotten better at open field running throughout his career here in Miami, and that's really helped him because he can utilize that speed in different ways. You can utilize him in the screen game. He's great in run after the catch situations on pick plays and stuff of that nature. So there's a lot you can do with Jakeem Grant, and he gives you that ability to score from any part of the field. And it's unfortunate that he didn't get more opportunities this season. Because I think he's proved every time he's got an opportunity, whether it be the New England game where he got a lot more snaps, this particular game against the Kansas City Chiefs, where his number was literally called at times, and the play was designed for him. He's capitalized on them. Obviously, he had the one drop against New England, but again, whenever he gets the chance to do something, he makes the best of it. And I think hopefully moving forward, we utilize him more in this offense because I think he's a talented player, and he needs to be involved, especially since Devontae Parker, who had a couple good, plays here and there, he's playing on a bad ankle. He's inconsistent, as any inconsistent player has ever been inconsistent. So Jakeem definitely needs to get his playing time. That was about the only positives of this game. Other than that, like I said, there was momentum shifts in that game. Obviously, when we stopped the Chiefs, I think on 4th and 1, they were deep into our territory. I think they were just 1 first down away from 1st and goal, and Rashad made a tremendous play. Our D-line made a tremendous play to get the ball back, and we did. I don't think we did nothing with the football. Like we continue, and I don't know if that was the drive that we turned the ball over, or we just straight up didn't do anything with the football. But again, that's stuff this offense has just struggled with. There have been plays that this defense has made, and this defense has been on the field a lot this season, and the offense cannot capitalize on anything the defense does for it. Like I said, that's a mark of a bad team when you two positions can't complement each other, and they're both consistently doing things wrong. Then obviously you're going to get a loss on your record. So it's unfortunate, and it's the same thing every single week, and it hurts to watch this because again there was just a lot to look forward to this season, and it's unfortunate that it got ruined by injuries, and we didn't get to see certain young players continue to grow as a Dolphin, and it's just unfortunate. So let's move on to the defense. All right, let's talk about the defensive side of the football. To be honest with you, the defense actually made me more upset than the offense did this particular game. Even though both sides were terrible at times in this particular game, I thought the defense made the worst mistakes in this game because it's been the same thing. The intelligence level of this defense comes into question so many times this season, whether it's lack of film or just I don't even care. I don't know what it is, but you would think on 3rd and longs how many times this team is literally screened on us or drawed it and picked up a huge chunk of yards and or a first down because of poor tackling or just not even recognizing what the play is ridiculous. We really don't have a quarterback on this defense. We don't have a Luke Kuechly. We don't have a Bobby Wagner. And not even a player of that talent level. We just don't have a quarterback to get us in the right spots, to get us in the right area. And that's really hurt us. If we had that screen to, I think it was a tight end, Demetrius, can't remember his name right now. He's a former basketball player, plays for the Chiefs. Literally screened it to him, a tight end, and he picked up the first down. Same thing with Albert Wilson. I think that was actually called back, or maybe I'm mistaken on that, but he picked up a huge chunk of yards and a first down off of a screen call on 3rd down. So that kind of stuff is ridiculous. You cannot, and it frustrates me more than anything because it's so simple. That is the simplest play to make as a defense. And I've said this a million times before. I'm not even going to blame this on Matt Burke because obviously he was dialing up pressure on that down, and then Alex Smith checked out of it. and threw a quick pass out to the left there, and there was nobody out there to tackle him. He did that a couple times this game. That's not on. Listen, if there's pressure dialed up, and that's the call, and you see something that you don't like, that's why there are middle linebackers. That is why you can audible out of certain plays. The recognition of this defense is very, very poor. And they just can't make the play. Like they can't do anything by themselves, it seems like. The coach can't hold your hand all the time. And he definitely can't go out there and tackle people. And that was the most frustrating thing in the world to watch, is somebody, throw a ball a yard behind the line of scrimmage and pick up 10 yards on third down for a first down. That is absolutely ridiculous. And especially since one of those players was a tight end. So, it's just frustrating. The defense it just makes so many boneheaded plays. The open field tackling of this game was atrocious. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. I don't think it was really, really bad. Cameron Wake, missing sacks. Anything and everything you can think of happened in this game. Missed tackles of this defense have been an absolute problem. I don't think it's an effort thing. I've never seen Cameron Wake give 0% effort on a play. I've never seen some of those players that miss tackles on Sunday give up on a play. And even watching those plays, I don't think they did. I just think it was poor tackling. I really do. I just think it was poor tackling. Bobby McCain missed a couple of tackles that he hasn't missed all year, and he just did. It's just stuff like that, simple stuff like that. It's terrible. The whole Travis Kelce thing. You actually look at his stat line. He was kept in check pretty well. He only had a few. He had a touchdown, but he had a few catches for 41 yards or something like that. They were really not good in the red zone, and that's something that our defense has struggled with all year. Is keeping people from scoring touchdowns. We're dead last in the NFL in red zone defense. So we were able to force them to settle for field goals. Our offense just wasn't able to take advantage of that and score points with the Chiefs, and that was unfortunate. But the defense wouldn't have given up any points at times if it wasn't for penalties, and if it wasn't for poor tackling, and if it wasn't for just intelligence. At this point, how many times is a team going to do that to you before you figure it out? And again, it's the simplest stuff. You see the Seahawks, and I'm not comparing this defense to the Seahawks. You see this with the Seahawks, the Cowboys, all these defenses that are fundamentally sound. The Patriots, just to throw them in there, even the Bills, who are a well-coached team, they rally to the football. Our defense does not do that. There was a play where Bobby McCain was tackling on a screen. I think it was. Yeah, it was a screen. I don't know if it was to Albert Wilson, or I think it was to Tyreek Hill. It was definitely to Tyreek Hill. He had him by his ankles. He was going for him. He grabbed him. Tyreek Hill's completely stopped. He's 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Kiko Alonso was right behind Bobby McCain. Kiko completely stopped like he made the tackle. You don't stop until the whistle is blown. You go over there, you help your teammate bring one of the best players in the NFL down. Tyreek Hill is an explosive playmaker. You would think we would understand that, but no. Kiko Alonso stopped like he made the tackle. He breaks that tackle, runs around Kiko for a gain of 8. That kind of stuff is just simple stuff that cannot happen to you as a defense. Again, same thing with the offense with this defense. There were plays that there were plays that should have been made that weren't made because of mental errors or just stupid mistakes. Just stupid decisions. When you think about, like I said, that Tyreek, if he tackles in there, I don't know if that says, I think he said something like a third and long instead of a third and short. If you tackle on some of those screens, they have to punt the football. It's just stuff like that that is ridiculous, and you just can't give up easy that's easy. That's easy. It's too easy sometimes and the defense. Just make the easy plays, for God's sakes. And it's hard to believe that they can't do it. Because there's a lot of talent on that side of the football, especially up front. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. I've never been as upset at this defense in that game. Because there was, the Tyreek Hill catches downfield, that didn't upset me because that was just great play by a great player. There's nothing, he's the fastest player by far in the NFL. He's going to do that. Fine. Same thing with Travis Kelce. He catches that's what he does. He's one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best. So, that's fine. But there were other plays that could have been made to win the game that just weren't made because either we missed a tackle or there was a penalty. There was a lot of defensive holding this game and illegal contact called on us some of it was really ticky-tacky. But on most of those calls, Alex Smith actually rushed for a first down, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So again, our rush lanes were terrible in this game. That's something that continues to be. Don't even get me started on it. We're gonna talk about this right now. People complain that, oh, why do we struggle against like the triple option? We saw this against Carolina. We saw this against the Bills for the last 3 years. We saw it against Kansas City last night or yesterday, 2 days ago. We struggle, and it's not coaching. Because it's not coaching, it's personnel. We struggle against athletic quarterbacks in the read option game, RPO game, triple options, all that kind of stuff. Cameron Wake is one of the, and I love him to death. He's a great player. He's a great pass rusher. He's an old school 4-3 defensive end. He is not the player that we need him to be in the way the league is going with all these athletic quarterbacks. He sucks at defending the edge in this type of an offense with misdirection and, we're going to an option to Kareem Hunt, all that stuff. He's just not athletic enough to set the edge, and he just doesn't guess right half the time. And frankly, he's been missing a lot of tackles lately in those situations. And the reason we struggle against an offense like that is because our personnel is just not equipped to take that on. When they run it at Charles Harris, he does a very good job of preventing as much as he can. If we had Cameron Malvo, the kid out of Houston, when he was in there at times, he did a great job against Tyrod Taylor of containing some of that stuff. Wake has just really struggled with that. It's just a personnel thing, and that's another thing that's bugged me over the last few years, is that he just struggles to set the edge against misdirection offenses when they have a mobile quarterback that they try to get involved in the running game. He just cannot handle it. And I don't want to make that sound like I'm singling out Wake and he's the only one who messes up on that. No, Kiko Alonso is also very bad at it. There are other players that struggle with that as well. So as for some positives, Stephon Anthony, I thought when he made a lot of plays. I thought he did a good job in coverage. I thought that there's not a lot of positives for the defense, to be honest with you. Charles Harris, when he had a lot of pressures this game. Obviously, had a huge sack on Alex Smith that knocked him out of field goal range. He had a good game. Obviously, homecoming for him. Rashad had a tremendous game. TJ had a really good game. Stephon, I thought, had a good game. Sue had a good game. The interior of the defensive line, I thought, played really well. Anytime they, tried to inside zone it up the middle, Kareem Hunt really struggled to get any yards, and they did a good job in the interior of that line of tackling him. And, I thought Lawrence Timmons had an okay game as well. I thought he was savvy and guessed right most of the time on some of those bootlegs. He was put in a bad situation whether to take the flat or Alex Smith. In my opinion, if you're the linebacker, always take the flat, because usually the flat player is more athletic than the quarterback, and you're going to give up a lot more yards if you just give him, an easy 15 to 18 yard throw. So I thought Lawrence Timmons did a good job in some of those scenarios. Other than that, the defense just really killed themselves. Bobby McKeon had his worst game, and it wasn't, again, great players are going to make plays. I don't care who it is. They're going to do it to you. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're always going to win a game, depending on, especially early in the half, or unless it's in the fourth quarter. That doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. But Tyreek Hill made his plays, Travis made his plays, but there were opportunities for our defense to get off the field, and they just were not able to capitalize on those opportunities, and it's just unfortunate. I'm honestly sick and tired of this team already. They should be ashamed of themselves at this point. Of how they perform week in and week out. Granted, they're not well equipped at this point in the season, but there were plays to be made on Sunday that just weren't made, that should have been made. Hopefully in Buffalo we can play spoiler and win that game. That would be amazing to knock them out of the playoffs, and that's what sends us to the off season. It's going to be at Hard Rock Stadium. Hopefully we can make some plays in that game, but this was a terrible game to watch and very frustrating. So I'm Skagster83, and I'll see you guys in the next one.